This is Michigan's retirement coach, Mike Douglas.
And I'm Heather Branch here asking Mike for his insight on the things that you can be working on now to better prepare for your financial future. LifePlanWealth.com is our website, and it is where you can start your conversation with Mike and his team about all the things that you need to figure out in your own plan. That's the thing, as much as we talk about all the things that we can do here on the podcast, it gets down to each individual person.
Yeah.
So you got to do the work yourself, but you don't have to do it by yourself. Mike is here to help. We also have links posted in the show notes, so you can just click there, or again, find us anytime at lifeplanwealth.com. So 'tis the season for, well, hopefully you're planning some summer vacations. It's, thinking about what we're going to do this summer. And that is what my husband and I are doing. We got there's a friend group. When you have like a friend and they've got a friend group, and so that friend brings you into the group, and they're like, "We're going to go on this trip. You guys want to come?" And it's a great group of people. It's super fun. So yeah, so they plan this trip, and Kyle and I don't have anything to do with the planning. We just get invited along. So this year they've decided
show up and party.
Right. This year they've decided to rent a house in Aruba. So okay. Which is actually, it's a great way to go, housing rentals, because you can go to these exotic places, and if you get a big group of people, it ends up being super cheap.
Yeah.
To rent these nice houses.
Yeah. We always joke that we're rich in certain countries. Like,
and a lot of Americans can know that.
We are rich in Mexico.
Right?
Yeah. I'm like,
here's the thing,
free
though.
virgin daiquiris for everybody.
Good thing that the house is a good deal, because then I had to go buy my plane tickets. And when I tell you.
We are not rich at Delta.
We are not rich at Delta. When I tell you I am not rich at Delta.
I love Delta.
I love Delta too, you look up, that's the thing. I have only ever flown Delta. Like, I'm a Delta snob. I'm like, if it's not Delta, it doesn't exist to me.
When you live in a hub city, you live in a hub city, I live in a hub city. We're a hub for Delta, you're a hub for Delta. It changes your view on things, because I can get anywhere almost always nonstop.
But my view is changing, because in the last few years, the cost of Delta has gotten so astronomical. I'm like, I can't not shop other airlines now. And there's actually, if you look it up, you'll see the travel bloggers, the travel influencers are like, what is Delta on? And the Sky Miles program, I'm a Delta card holder. I was going online to use my Delta miles, 100,000 miles. And my husband, I'm 6 feet, I'm a little over 6 feet. My husband's 6'4", so I get us exit row. I cashed in 100,000 miles, and I still ended up having to pay over $1,000 in fees and taxes on 2 economy exit row seats.
Yeah.
And for
those wondering, 100,000 miles is $1,000. That's $1,000.
I don't know how much. That's the thing. Is I just
$1,000 off.
Okay. And we're not going at peak season to go to the islands. We're going in the middle of July. It's not like March.
Yeah, that's during the crazy weather season.
Right. I got insurance.
Hurricane season.
But so that's the thing, is I was thinking to myself, I was going to get a great deal using miles, and I still ended up paying over $1,000 in taxes and fees. And that's just one example, because I was reading this story we were talking about before we were recording. The price of flying, all the junk fees, any person that's flown at all lately, but the most hated fee is the imposed baggage fee that hits. Did you read this stat, the story I sent you? The top 20 airlines last year took in more than $33 billion in baggage fees alone.
With a B, 33 billion.
B stands for baggage and for billions, and that's how much the airlines made on your suitcases last year alone, $33 billion. Here's the thing, though. This is what I will say. As mad as we all get at airline fees, at least we know what it is. We see, it might come as a surprise, but it's okay, I paid it. I'm going to get to Aruba. We're going to have our trip. We're going to come back, and fine, it's done. The fees that infiltrate our savings accounts, our money, ironically, the money we pay on our money, it's people are not angry enough. And I think it simply goes down to the bottom line that they don't know how much they're paying.
Yeah.
So let's talk about fees in America, sir.
Let's talk about fees.
Let's talk about fees, baby.
Fees and portfolios is a very interesting thing. So fees are an issue in the absence of value. That's a great quote Chris Lawler taught me, my friend Chris Lawler.
Yeah.
Fees are an issue in the absence of value. Why do I fly Delta? Because in my Delta experience, I've had very few canceled or changed flights. I know people have had them. I know people deal with it.
I'm with you,
I'm not minimizing that. I've flown first class Delta, flown the worst class Delta. Almost every seat is better than a lot of other seats on other flights. I don't have any relationship with Delta It's just been my experience.
I'm 100% with you.
And I will pay a little more for a guarantee of my return flight home, as much guarantee as you can get. So all that being said, if I know what I'm paying and choose to pay it, that is acceptable.
Correct.
Right. I can go on Kayak or I can go on, TripAdvisor or whatever, and I can map out all the costs and I can clearly see I'm overpaying. But there's a peace of mind I get from certain things.
Got it.
And that is value. And so I don't mind paying the fee. What I don't like is getting no value and paying a fee. When you go grocery shopping, right? Like if you go to Kroger, Walmart, up here we go to Meijer a lot, Aldi, wherever you go. Mm-hmm. When you buy something, like let's say you do what I do. We use Instacart or Shipped, companies that will go and grab your groceries. You go on the app, you type it all in, they go buy it, they find replacements. They do a really good job. I'm very grateful for them. Mm-hmm. We pay them a fee to shop. Mm-hmm. And imagine they come through and they say, all right, the fee to shop is $10 plus a tip or whatever it is. I pay like a subscription fee. So we pay like $10 a month, I think, for Instacart. Right. Very, very low. And then they build in a tip. And you go through and say, okay, well, that's cool. So I paid, when people ask, if you say, what did I pay for Instacart? Well, I tipped them $20 and I paid $10 a month. So $30 what I paid Instacart. And then you go through, and if you have like the Meijer app open, if you had them side by side, you would see that bananas cost about 4 cents more on Instacart than they do at Meijer when you're shopping from Meijer. Powerade cost a few cents more. Like everything has a slight increase in price because Instacart builds in a little cushion of pricing. You don't get sales. Like if you go to the Meijer app and it says, this stuff's on sale, 4 for $5 this week. Not on the Instacart app. You pay regular prices. And so they build in these little cushions of extra revenue being generated without ever actually charging you for it. They just say, here's what it costs you to get bananas from Meijer on Instacart. And unless you pull the two up side by side, you would never know that you're paying a slight increase.
Got it.
And that's like one of those hidden fees. Now it's in their disclosures that they do that they price things up.
It's in the small print.
The terms and conditions that nobody reads.
Yeah.
So that's one.
But we all signed, checked
right.
the box.
And that's one example. So I say, all right, well, let's say on a $100 order, I paid an extra $5 to Instacart in uptick fees. All right. Mm-hmm. So I'm $35 in. I still have to pay Meijer. I still have to pay the grocery store. And then in the grocery store's cost, they say, all right, well, yeah, here's how much a box of cereal cost. $3. All right, $4. In there, they build in their cost of the diesel and the trucks to get it there, the cost they paid General Mills, the cost they paid someone to stock the shelf, the cost to pay for the pricing, like all that stuff. Mm-hmm. It's all built in. And we just go through and imagine you get to let's say you don't go Instacart, you go shopping on your own. You go through the store and you grab milk out of the cooler and it's $3.69 a gallon. Mm-hmm. And you grab your bread and you grab your this, you grab your that, and you put it all in the cart and you got like a cart full of groceries. Mm-hmm. And you're thinking $150. And they ring it up and they say $380.
That's a real life experience though for a lot of us lately.
It's crazy. And you say $380. Like I was running the math in my head. I even had a little spreadsheet from home. Like I should be more like 150. And then you say, where's the screen? I'd like to see the screen, because when they scan it, it goes up on the screen. You can see it. It's a good thing. We don't have a screen here. Well, do you have a receipt? Can I get a receipt for today's transactions? No, we don't give out receipts. What we do is we send you once a year, we send a report. And on the report, it's 50 pages long, and we will tell you what we charged you throughout the year. There's no way we would ever shop at that grocery store. That's a ridiculous, stupid example. And if you're listening, you're probably thinking that's ludicrous. That's what happens with every mutual fund or ETF you have in your portfolio. You pay someone to shop for you. It's an advisor. And there's value in that. There's so many studies that have been done, and you can find people that do studies on both sides of it, right? Like if you hate advisors, you can build a study. If you love advisors, you can build a study. But there's been studies that show that good, low fee, but feed management results in an average of 2 to 3% greater increase over time. So there's studies that have been done, and you pay someone to shop, and they go through and they take your investment cart and they grab you large cap funds, small cap funds, stocks, bonds, ETFs, mutual funds, annuities, whatever. And they put them in your cart. And then you tell someone, if someone says, well, what do you pay for your financial advisor? You say, I pay 1%, which is true. You're paying 1%, 1.5%, 0.5, whatever the number is. And that's what you're paying for the advisory. Mm-hmm. And so on $1 million portfolio, that's 10 grand a year. Not that that's high, low, whatever. The national average is about 1.2%. So if you are paying that per year, but it saves you from doing the research, It saves you from being the one to make the difficult decisions in the hard moments, and someone who helps you actually build out a full-on plan that makes sure you get paid the rest of your life. Well, then that's a good thing. And if that was it, that'd be it. But then you still have to pay the fund managers. So there's people who at Fidelity, at Vanguard, at American Funds, at Janus Funds, at wherever, when you have these funds in your portfolio, if it's a mutual fund, there's a fund manager on the other end, and they are like the grocery store. They have to get paid for buying and selling the stocks inside the mutual fund. We love a mutual fund because it's a way of buying 1,000 stocks at one time, and I don't have to pick them out. But someone has to get paid for doing that, and that's the fund manager. So you pay the advisor 1%, and then on average, you pay some mutual fund manager about another 1%. And you say, oh gosh, okay, so now I'm paying 2% on those fees. Is there a way to know what I'm paying? Well, yeah. Every year we send a prospectus out once a year, and it's 50, 100, 120 pages. I literally have this thing right here. Someone just brought in this morning to a meeting. I wish I could grab it, but it's a stack about this big. It looks like a ream of paper, and it's from one fund.
And that's the report?
It's the prospectus. It's worth it. Stay right there. It's worth it. Okay. It's literally right there.
Everybody wait. If you're listening to the podcast and not watching it on YouTube.
This is great video.
There's a visual. Yeah.
I'm glad we're talking. This is a prospectus.
Wow.
It came with
tethered together.
And they said to my client, here you go. This is so you can understand what you have. Are you kidding me? How is he supposed to know that? He's like, I don't do that. I don't want to. And you notice he didn't unbind it. He left it completely bound up. He's like, I'm not dealing with that stuff. And yet that is his receipt. And that's one fund.
How many funds do you have?
25, 30.
Oh God.
Yeah. So, and it's not the fault of that company. It's the fault of the system. That's how the system works right now. It says you buy a fund, they report once a year. And how easily do you understand that? Well, you can read that report, which he didn't. He didn't unbundle it.
Well, but what are the chances he's going to really be able to understand it? It's like been giving a law book.
It's written by lawyers.
And you don't know law. You don't know the law. Like it's like reading Greek.
Yeah. And so what he did is he hired someone to interpret. He brought in today and said, I got this. What do I do with it? I said, here's what it is. Let me explain exactly what it is to you so you understand it. In about 30 seconds, I broke it down for him. And he goes, add it to your shred pile. I said, sounds good. And so we went through it and he understands it. But to get those things as the receipt is ridiculous. That's why with all of our people, we go through line by line and say, here's exactly what you can expect to pay, what you are going to pay. If we use these funds, they're going to charge you 1%. If I use these funds, they charge you 0.2 or 0.1. So we're going to choose the lowest fee possible that still gives us the returns we want. Okay. Having a portfolio where you understand the fee structures is critical. It saves you so much money because if you make an extra 1% a year by not overpaying in fees over the course of a 20-year retirement, that's a lot of money that's still in the pocket, still in the family. Even if you don't spend it, you leave it to the kids, at least it stays with them. It doesn't go to some guy at Fidelity or Vanguard or Merrill or wherever. So knowing that is huge. Having someone who can interpret those stacks of paper, that is the key. That's how you make sure you're protected against, because in the down years, they still charge you. You lose 10%. No, you're going to still pay that fee, and you pay an advisor. So now you're down twice on top of a depreciated asset. Yep. The advisor's job is to protect you on the way down and try to help you along the way and to make sure you don't get stacks of paper like that you don't understand and have no understanding of what it means. So it's our job to interpret. And we run these reports, these Morningstar fee reports, where we're able to go through and give you the exact fee in every single fund. So you can go through. I just sat with someone the other day, and as we walked through all of their funds and all of their fees that they're paying, they said, well, the portfolio has been kind of like the market's going like this, and we're kind of just trudging along. And we went through, and I just pulled this report, I believe it was last Wednesday. And as we walked through line by line, I said, this has a 1.8% fee on the fund, plus you're paying a manager. This has a 1.2%. And we went down the list with the highlighter, just like dog, get rid of these things. And by going through, and they said, what would it be if we made a switch? And I said, well, I don't know that you should switch everything, but I think you should consider investing in something different here. And I made some recommendations, and I showed them almost identical funds, like almost identical index funds that are paying out on 0.2%, 0.3%. So 1.5% you make a year just by not overpaying. So on our website, there's a button that says start your retirement roadmap today. Click that button. We'll run a Morningstar report for you. We'll put your funds in and just give a receipt, an actual receipt that goes line by line. Here's what you're paying on every single fund you have. And from there, you can decide if it's worth it, if there's value to it. But it starts with that conversation. Start your retirement roadmap today, the button on lifeplanwealth.com. And we'll see if there's anything that can illuminate that. We'll bring a screen to your register and make sure you can see everything you're paying.
Right. I was thinking, if you are mad at airline fees,
that's dollars, not percents.
That's right. Like, let's get to work. Because if airline fees make you mad, then you will likely be very upset. If you have investments, let's take a look.
At least an airline fee's one time, right? Like you fly, also, you pay that fee. If you have a portfolio, you keep paying over and over again.
But also, there are some people that might come and have a fee review, and it's like, no, you're doing good. Maybe they're working with a guy or doing it on their own, and it's like, no, you look good. That can happen too. But the point is, give yourself the opportunity to find out. Let's run the math. Let's run the numbers.
Armed with education. Yep.
That's it. Again, our website, lifeplanwealth.com, is where you can go to begin the conversation. We also have links posted in the show notes, or visit us anytime at lifeplanwealth.com.
Thanks for listening to Michigan's Retirement Coach with Mike Douglas. To learn more, visit lifeplanwealth.com.
Michael Douglas is an investment advisor representative of Stewards Wealth Planning, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Financial professionals are not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if Michael Douglas is licensed in your state, please call 517-323-7526. Stewards Wealth Planning, LLC is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through Michael B. Douglas, NPN number 9650939.